Yes.
She's going to tell us about her life and her journey and how she's gone from one career to the next. And then, of course, we will talk about her style journey as well. Jen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I'm honored. Thank you for asking.
So, first off, we're going to talk about you're a business coach, but you are a life force strategist. So, how did you go? Where did your career start? Where was your first business? And then, how did you journey into life force strategy?
So, I have a very interesting life and journey that we're not going to get fully into, but let's just say that my 20s were a hot mess until I wound up single and pregnant with my daughter Olivia. Um, Her father's black, but not in the picture. So I had a biracial child in a very, 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 very white world, and I was a mess. So we'll just put it there, okay? And so while I was pregnant with Olivia, I didn't know what to do. I had been in the restaurant business. Um, and so I started doing a little bit of catering, and I just knew like I couldn't be in the restaurant business. Like you can't, especially as a single mom, be in that world and be a mom. It's very challenging. It's a lot of partying, a lot of nights, and just not a healthy environment. So I went and got my real estate license while I was pregnant with Olivia, my lifesaver, and I got into real estate, and I did really well almost immediately, and I climbed that ladder and got into the leadership side of the business, became a partner in a brokerage, and was like the driving force behind going from 30 million to 300 million, going from 30 agents to about 120 agents over the period of about 6 or 7 years. I also, at one of the ways I had built my book of business was through chambers of commerce and business councils. I was very involved in the local chamber of commerce, and then I founded the county business council. We did not have an organization, and this is all volunteer, that did any kind of business advocacy. And so I was running the tracks of, having a residential, uh, and then I went into commercial when the market crashed, because my sphere was business owners and elected officials, and they were not selling. So I had my book of business, and then I became the partner at that brokerage, and I was a business leader. And so, um, but in my 20, when I went through this, I had to, uh, I had to heal myself. I have been through a lot of trauma in my 20s and in my childhood. And so in just searching for something, right? It wasn't for me. It wasn't going to be the Catholic Church, which was my upbringing. It just wasn't for me. And somehow I stumbled upon a Buddhist monastery, and I went through 7 years of Buddhist teacher training, and then went on beyond that to become I'm sorry, it was 3 years of Buddhist teaching training, and then went on for another 3 years, 4 years actually, to become an ordained uh, Buddhist priest, and also I was trained in there to become a meditation teacher. So business is great, and then in the last year, got through the pandemic. We really thrived. The partnership was doing great, and I started to realize after the pandemic, and I went through a lot with my husband being ill. Both my daughters were sort of struggling. And I really leaned back heavy into my spiritual life and into my spiritual practice. I actually hired an amazing coach at that time, a business coach, John Cheplack, which is how I met a lot of the women, Caroline, who started our book. We'll talk about that later. And his whole philosophy is like, you can't grow in business. And even if you do grow in business, it's going to blow up on you, or you're just not going to enjoy it if you are not putting yourself first, self-care first. So this brought me full circle back into my spiritual practice, which kind of had been on hold because I was single for 16 years, and then I met my husband. We got married 2 years ago. We were together 5 years ago. And you know what happens when you get in a relationship, all the things that are important to you, you put on the sideline. So I came back full circle into it, and I started to in the last 2 years, like really want to pull away from all that I was doing for my partnership because I was really the implementer, the one that just got everything done. And I wanted to go out on my own and do business coaching for realtors. That was the original plan. And I also live in the Dominican Republic as well. And so I just had this whole vision of working with helping people in the DR grow and more in the real estate side. And then I ended up going through a pretty bad breakup with my partnership. Don't really want to, it'll take too long to get into that. And I got sort of forced into moving ahead quickly. But in the meantime, this partnership breakup brought up a lot of old hurt for me, a lot of
Mhm.
trauma, a lot of abandonment, a lot of hurt. My income went from like $450,000 a year to nothing in a screeching halt, plus a whole bunch of money I invested is just not there right now. We don't have to get into that story. This happened June of this year. And then all of a sudden, um, I realized as soon as this happened, I didn't go into like a bad space. I immediately tripled down. And now I had already like doubled down in the last few years on my personal practice and spiritual and physical. I lost 40 pounds. I've kept it off. Had my meditation, my journaling, my affirmations, all that in place. So when the shit hit the fan, I really immediately was okay, like totally okay. Like it's okay. It doesn't, the income, the money doesn't matter. None of this matters. And my husband's been really ill for a couple of years. So he's an attorney. And so we were struggling a little bit to begin with because his income wasn't there, but I was just okay. And so the life force strategy, what that is basically getting you to a place in life where no matter what, and I call it anti-fragile. Actually, one of my coaches taught me that space
I saw it.
where you don't just become stronger, right? Because we all say that, oh, you go through stuff and you become stronger. You go through stuff and you become stronger. I almost feel like when you have that mindset, you're almost inviting like stuff to happen. This
Mhm.
is where you get to a place where and you have a faith, like a really deep faith that no matter what, you're going to get through things and become a better version of yourself, which is
Yeah.
even much better than being stronger. I've been strong and I've had grit my whole life. Um, but really becoming like now one of my what I envision on a regular daily basis is becoming more graceful, more patient, more loving. Like I don't want to become stronger. Strong is great, but just evolving into a better person and just having that faith, I guess, is sort of that life force that I'm talking about. And the faith comes from believing in yourself by taking the action and knowing that no matter what, you're going to show up and you're going to do what you have to do, whether it be perfect or imperfect. You're there, you show up, and you give that energy where it needs to be. So that's it in a nutshell. It's hard to put in a nutshell, but I did the best that I could. And so now I get to bring in all that spiritual training and practice, which really saved my life in so many ways. And not just, and I've opened up, I'm not just a business coach for realtors, business coach for any small business, but my ideal client is really somebody who has achieved, levels of success and are either stuck or just not feeling fulfilled. Maybe still struggling with stress, anxiety, fear, not being able to level up beyond. They just keep hitting that same ceiling, don't have the motivation, or really want to learn the practice of self actualization and really grow into better versions of themselves. So that's
So
it.
I can see how that would go hand in hand because as a business owner, there are going to be times when you hit that, like, where do I go next? I feel stuck. And having someone deal with you on the inside to get you unstuck and help you realize that there are other ways to achieve it. You're not fragile, you're not broken. You can do this.
Hmm.
And that even if something bad happens to you in business or your personal life, that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of overcoming and succeeding and having that positive energy flow back into you, um, is knowing that it's going to be okay. It's kind of like, I imagine it must have been like a woo-saw when you sit back and you go, okay, I'm breathing, I'm here, it's going to be okay. This too shall,
Yeah.
we're going to get through this. I know it. And when you speak that positive energy into something and you say it over and over and you remind yourself, I do believe it will manifest itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because I just founded Toastmasters club, and a lot of the women that I'm involved with are big manifestors, and so we get into debates, very healthy debates. And so, manifestation is not what people think it is. Yes, it is absolutely repeating the words over and over and over, but then you have to go and start the work that's going to bring what you want into your life.
Yeah,
And so, um, and it's also not just knowing everything's going to be okay. It's actually looking forward to these obstacles. Like, this is great. I've got the tools. And this is what happened to me. I experienced this. And it was like, whoa, I didn't know I had gotten to that place. It was like, bring it on. I got this. No worries. It doesn't matter. There were some terrible things said about me, rumors throughout my community. It could have been very easily to go into that place and just be so concerned about what people are thinking of me, and what about this and what about that. And it's like, no, I know myself, I know my heart, I know what I need to do, and now I'm just going to go do it. And if there's anybody that doesn't believe in me, and then they're not my people, and it's okay. Or I could have talked myself into like, if that can happen to you, how can you coach somebody? That's exactly why I can coach somebody.
exactly.
I would,
Exactly.
yeah, I'm able to get through, and I'm able to rebound. And knowing that it's inevitable. Like, this kind of stuff is going to happen. And the more you stick yourself out there and stick your neck out and take risks, the more you're going to fail, right? But
Right.
failure is not an option. It is part of the path, it is part of the journey.
I actually have a business coach as well that, I've been working with, and I will say coaches are, I love coaches. I love, life coaches. I love business coaches. I love coaches because it's it helps you to grow as a person.
Hmm.
Counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, I support all of those because this is a
All of it.
part of your self-care. It's not just to help your business grow, but it is a part of your self-care. And one of the things that I learned, just what you said, is that, if people unscribe to whatever you're doing, that person that wasn't your client anyway. They were never going to be your client. They're never going to be the person that you thought they were anyway. So just look at it as a positive.
I was so afraid so I started doing my blog, and I started emailing it out to my Sphere database, which was, sort of not my residential, my real estate, client. But a lot of these rumors, because people, real
Yeah.
estate world can be a little bit toxic at times. And so I buried my head in the sand a little bit, in a good way, right? Because I didn't want to focus on it. So I had no idea what my open rate was. And so finally, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said to my assistant, I'm like, all right, tell me the open rate. 56%. It's huge. When we were sending out like real estate related stuff, it was in the 20s. So it doesn't matter. And so I'm sure there are people who formed an opinion, or it was almost like a divorce where people took sides and this and that, but it's just a blip, it's just a drop in the
It is.
ocean. And that's not who I am. That situation is not anything to do with who I am or what I have to offer. It's something I went through. And you can take everything you go through and turn it into a beautiful, valuable lesson. And it's all data. It's like just collecting the data.
Just
Oh,
collecting the data and just
th-
realize that it's, everything. And I think things happen for a reason. I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. When one door closes, it's because there's a door with greater opportunities opening up for you. You can't get there until that door closes.
Agreed.
So that's
Agreed.
how I've been living my life.
I can tell. I can feel it from you. I can feel the flow of just what we're talking about and how you get that and just you have a very calm you have grace and patience. One of the things I strive for, I can tell, and that's
I
beautiful.
have
It's
too.
beautiful.
Yeah, this is my second chapter after 50, it's your second chapter. And how do you want to leave? How do you want to leave this space? And you talk about reinventing yourself. I'm a person of reinvention. And you talk about reinventing yourself
Yeah.
over 50. And I mean, life is short. Now's the time to do everything that you've ever wanted to do.
Amen. I mean, I'm 52 and I had to completely reinvent myself. Because I was so tied up in my identity of that persona of this Jennifer Marr, COO of J. Phillip Real Estate, business leader, and blah blah blah. Like it was everything of who I was. And then pandemic hit. Met. I knew my husband for 15, 16 years, but we became romantic. 5 years ago, I had been single 16 years or 15 years, and so much changed, and I had no choice in so many ways, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so reinventing yourself is something, honestly, like it should be happening on a daily basis, right? So one of the part of life force strategy is to not get so attached to those personas of who we think we are, like, and getting in touch with your inner seat of consciousness and understand that if everything did get ripped out from underneath you, and it did, you still exist. You're still in there, and
Mhm.
you are all those beautiful things without having the labels, without having the stature and the or people, everybody behind you, and now all of a sudden maybe everybody's against you, and like you're still in there. You're still there. Nothing's changed.
Right.
It's and you will be okay because you are. Not that you will be, you are. You already are okay.
Yeah, you are okay. You are okay. That's a big part of my message with my business is that no matter what, no matter what your size are, your shape, your age, what's happening to our bodies, which is just, our body betrays us over 40, it starts to betray us and it doesn't matter because you're going to be okay. And you still
Hmm.
look good and you're still beautiful and you're still fabulous. You're still that same person
Yeah.
and you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I too was by myself. I was a single mom for about 15 years before I remarried. So you go through that's a part of your life's journey and changes and overcoming. And I think it's an awesome thing. And you guys, I can't imagine not having a better business coach, you guys. I mean, I mean, you do want somebody who's been through it, who can,
Yeah.
while you're learning and you're going through the journey, you want somebody who can really is not sitting back from an ivory tower,
No.
kind of
There's no ivory tower here.
they're telling you from life experience. And that makes the best coach when they're talking to you from life experience.
That's interesting because I have found I've come full circle into what coaching means. And really, I love this expression. It's radiant exemplar. And so the best thing that I can do to coach people is to live it, right? So I just keep deepening my morning rituals that get me plugged into the best version of who I am, which is the life force, right? Which is God. So that's what it is, right? So whether you are like me and you don't have like the best relationship with religions, organized religions, um God really is just that. When you are tapped into that higher power, the energy of the universe, and the best version of yourself. And so you have to do that over and over and over on a daily basis. And now I'm getting into doing it like, many times throughout the day. bring myself back, get into that best version of myself. How do I want to show up? Who do I want to be? What virtues do I want to live by? What actions do I need to embody in order to do that? And do that over and over so that I really am. So, not just big life things, but little life things, showing up with your family on a daily basis, as the best version of yourself and being present to those you're around. So being the best version of yourself in the moments is the best thing I can do as a coach.
So give us some, are there any tips on like if you're feeling, because most of the time people try to be, upbeat and positive about things and try to overcome things. But are there any tips to help you reinforce that um that I always my friend and I call it the itty bitty shitty committee that's in the back of your
Yeah.
head. No, you can't, no, you can't, no, you
I love
can't.
it. So there you go. There you go. You recognize it. At least recognize that it is not you. It
Right.
is the itty bitty shitty committee, right? One of my actually one of my coaches, Brian Johnson, coaches directly with Phil Stutz. He wrote a book called The Tools. There's a great movie out right now on Netflix called Stutz. Watch it. It is so powerful. And he calls it the X Factor. I've heard it like I don't know if you remember the Flintstones with Fred Flintstone had like the angel and the devil like
Yeah.
talking to him. I've had someone talk about it. You have two attorneys fighting out in your head, right? Just know that it's not you. And your feelings and your emotions are liars. They're literally talking you out of the very thing that you want the most on a regular basis all day long, right? So I'll give you an example. I wanted to stop drinking alcohol for the longest time. And um this is when I had like this huge epiphany. So one day I was just like straightening up and I go through all my journals, and journaling is one of those things. But anyway, so I'm going through my journals, and like every journal entry, it had a mention about it, and like it was important to me. But yet, you know, stressed out, long day, have a glass of wine, like I could, you talking yourself into it, whatever. And then one day I actually heard it, like, "Yeah, just you just have a glass of wine, like, you deserve it, you've earned it," like, talking me out of what my truest desire was, and that's when I haven't had a drink in, like it's like 18 months now, and I don't even have a desire because I finally realized, like, no, that's not me, and that's not to say anybody should feel that way about alcohol, whatever, like, you feel is your mooring line or your Achilles heel, start to actually listen, right? You make a goal, I wanna lose 20 pounds, it's your truest desire, you want it so bad, and then that voice starts talking to you, just have the ice cream, oh, just buy the ice cream, just buy the chips, just do this, starts talking you out of your own thing. So journaling is a really powerful way, but actually go back and read those journals. Meditation is something super, and life changing is breath work. Breath work has changed my life. I can go from feeling tired and just not feeling it, do 3 minutes of breath work, and boom, I'm back. I'm feeling amazing. So having the tools, and then also knowing that you should use these tools in the morning and you
Yeah.
should use these tools in the evening. The evening counts twice because it sets you up for a better day the next day. And I heard this morning the difference between an amateur and a professional, right? So how you bring this into business is professionals do it even when they don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Amateurs, so how do you get that place? And now I've finally, and it's taken forever, I've been working on this stuff for like 15, 20 years, right? I finally am at the place, like, if I don't meditate, I don't do my breath work, I don't journal, I don't do my affirmations, I also have to, learn and read, I have this whole thing. It's literally like, have you ever left the house without brushing your teeth? You can think nothing now, like,
Mhm.
oh my god, I didn't brush my teeth.
It's all
Or
your
if you're an
stuff.
earring person, right? I don't
Right.
have earrings on, or like whatever it is, like those
Yeah.
things that are just that's what it's like for me now. And so, yeah, of course, there's days where I'm like half-ass meditating and half-ass working out, but I
Yeah.
show up no matter what.
What?
So it's all of it. It's like, and then I actually did a journal prompt this morning, and I suggest anybody that's watching this do this journal prompt. What situations and people and activities make you feel like the best version of you, like where you are truly you. You are 100% in your wholeness.
Yeah.
Um, and think of that and get more of that in your life, right? So for me, that's walking on the beach. It's getting out in nature. It's being with my granddaughter, spending time with, with her at this beautiful young age and seeing life through her eyes. There's so many answers to that. So it's just figure it out and do it and make
Yeah,
sure. But
right.
I can tell you this, and so you want to know what's an energizer and what's an enervator. Enervators are going to deplete you. And shopping is an enervator. So we can talk about that when we get into fashion, right? How to do that in a healthy way and how to plan your style without it becoming an addiction. So, shopping, binge watching, eating, drinking alcohol, uh those are examples of enervators. Energizers are exercise, meditation, breath work, reading, learning, getting creative. So making those choices and then replacing. So like I'm a big, like I said, I love to binge watch something. So replacing that, and it's like yes, I can still do that in its time and place, but it's not on a daily basis, right? So
Right.
no. So I
Right.
have when I just feel that urge, I'll start writing, I'll start reading, I'll start doing a puzzle. I've put new things in place. I bought watercolor, start getting creative and doing different things. When I want to eat bad things, I make a cup of tea. That is my new thing, and it's like so now
Yeah,
it's like
tea is
12
great.
cups of green
Yeah,
tea a
yeah,
day, which is a good
yeah.
thing.
Oh, it's a natural fat burner.
Yeah.
It's healthy.
Mhm.
It's healthy. So yeah, if you want, I think that's great. And as I speaking about style and fashion and needing to take a deep breath when you're walking into your closet and you have an event you have to go to in a hurry, you might have to walk in and use your breathing techniques
Yes.
so you can relax. I think that's a great idea. Usually when I'm doing closet edits with clients, I'm like, okay, grab a glass of wine because we have to so
Yep.
when you release the clothes.
Yep. I mean,
So
and
you have
style is
fun,
a
but, breathing technique, I'm gonna start incorporating that into my
so
strategy for
powerful.
my
I now
clients.
open
I think that's a
every
great step.
meeting. I open every meeting with breath
With
work
the
now.
with the breathing technique, because when you walk into your closet, you think you have to get dressed in a hurry, and all of a sudden, the thing that you thought you can wear, you can't. It can be stressful, especially when you need to get out of the door in a hurry. So
Yeah.
breathing techniques would help, definitely.
On the fashion front, I can just give you a little quick. So I went like when I when so a hot mess in my 20s, very insecure. I'm a high school dropout, did not go to college, did not really have any like serious formal education. So my confidence was not high. And here I am trying to sell real estate, trying to support a kid on my own. And I'm a single mom. There's no child support. There's not, so I went into like all I wore were suits because it built my confidence,
Yeah.
right? So I wore suits for probably 8 years, every day, all day, suits and heels, cute, a little more fashionable. I love to be sexy, so a little sexy. And and then once I built my confidence, then I went into more like dresses, still formal, right? But
Mhm.
dresses and like a little bit softer and a little more feminine. And then in the last few years, when I sort of brought this all together, the business gen and the spiritual gen, like it's one person. Oh, okay. Um, and of course, the pandemic influenced that. I've been known to wear like funky socks and fuzzy Birkenstocks to work, and I pull it off, right? And I still, and my daughters are like, "Who are you?" And like,
Who are you?
can't believe you're wearing that. And I'm like, first of all, I can because I know what I need to do today and I need to be comfortable. But yeah, I'm still stylish. Like I actually look cute in that. It's not like last minute threw on my socks and my Birkenstocks. Like I pull it off. And so I love that. And I love what you do because fashion for me or style for me was such a tool to get me through. I mean, I was so not confident and I felt judged. And a lot of this was in my own head. I was walking around like everybody's judging me because I have a biracial kid and like I lived in fear. And so I put on
Mhm.
this costume, but it worked. It got me from A to Z by what do you call it? Fake it till you make it, right?
Fake it till you make it. And
And it
people,
helped.
right. And when you walk in the room confident, um, because people are there as soon as you walk in the door, they're judging you. They're judging you in the first 27 seconds. So they're looking, they're judging, they're making judgment calls on you. And they, especially then, back then, they're sizing you up as well. Can she really do it? And you had something to prove. You're like, listen, I'm just as good as you are. I'm going to come in with my suit and I'm going to do a thing. And you did
Yeah.
it. You came in and you did your thing.
It
And
overcame my past, it overcame my fears, it overcame my lack of education. It did a lot of heavy lifting for me until I was able and strong enough and confident enough or had built the skills and all that stuff. So I think this conversation was meant to be because it's not shallow, you know. I love that I'm at a place now where I don't have to have my nails done anymore. I mean, and that's not a judgment. I think you should do whatever makes you feel good. Like one of my God bless you, one of my goals right now is to get some surgery. Like, I want to get a boob reduction. I have giant boobs. I've lost 40 pounds. Like, they just don't belong. They didn't go anywhere. So that's not
I'm
shallow.
sorry, you guys.
What happened? Hello, buddies.
You guys, I am a fur grandma too. So, so, so at any rate, you guys, I want to also talk about the fact that as you're evolving with your style, you're evolving. When I'm working with clients, I'm helping you align your style with your current and future lifestyle. So
Mhm.
if you're going from corporate and now you are doing life coaching and your whole energy and how you show up, you want to present in a different way, I help you with that. I help style you so you can feel professional and comfortable, and you want your clients and or your customers, whoever you're working with, to feel like you reflect the energy and the business and that you're now entering. So that's really, really important.
So important. I agree 1,000%. And a lot of it, I have a good intuition, but if someone's not able to, I've always had a fashion sort of style mind, so it was easy for me. But I can now sense like I walk around craving like the softest materials I can find. Oh, I need this.
Something
Ooh.
that feels good.
And
Yeah,
it was the opposite. I mean, I was in the most uncomfortable clothes, but I never thought of them as uncomfortable. It's just where I was at, and it held me up. It structured me, so it was what I needed,
right.
very much so. And I
Every
always had that pressure if I had to be like the best dressed person in the room. I don't feel that anymore. I still am.
you
Not
still
true. Not true.
and there is a way to marry your business style with your boho, with
Hmm.
your, more of a free, relaxed style. You can marry the two easily. I've been
Yeah.
talking to female speakers. In fact, I think I've interviewed 50 or more and then spoken with probably an additional 50. And I can tell you guys, people are all over the place with their speaker style and what the definition of what's professional and what's not has evolved uh, so much quickly with COVID, and I think it's fantastic.
Well, plus men, like, like I'll put on a certain outfit and I'll judge myself for a minute and then I'm like, "Hold on a second. Have you seen what Gary Vee shows up in? Have you seen what Steve Jobs? I mean, Steve Jobs wears black t-shirt and pants every day. You know what I mean? Like, so also as a woman, we have this stigma that we I think we've also put upon ourselves, and it's great because I mean, I like I said, I love to be sexy and dress up sexy and I can see the power I have over my husband when I'm in my red lipstick and all that. I mean, I had to only have red. I almost did it today. I was like, "Oh, put the red lipstick on," but
We're chillax here.
now it's like we should steal a page from men's fashion. Like they can show up. John Teplak, who one of my coaches, all he does is like buy a new T-shirt and like a fancy pair of sneakers, and that's it. So
I know my business coach, Kate Taylor, is, she talks to us about, there's a lot of stylists out here, and you have to find one that fits your personality.
mhm, agreed.
I've learned so much for her that it's like there's enough room for everybody. And so, you guys, if you're busy, you don't have time to show. Find a stylist. Find somebody who you connect with, who's your personality, who understands your business and understands your personality, and definitely hire a life force strategist.
I agree. I agree on both, and it was
Yeah.
always one of my goals. Two things I are were have been on my success list since I started my journey 26 years ago, I guess, in business. A stylist and a helicopter.
All right. All right. See, because you have to look good walking up to get on the helicopter, right? You
Yes,
have to have that
yes.
whole image. And on that note, you guys, we both are co-authors in the Women Who Boss Up series. I'm in Inspiring Professional Women Who Boss Up. And Jen?
I'm in women in real estate who boss up with a bunch of women from EXP real estate, which I'm still a broker with, and that's how we met, and that was an amazing summit.
It
Um,
was an amazing summit, and
eh,
you guys will be seeing more of us and more of our clips. And again, you guys, Jen's going to drop in the comments how you can get in contact with her when the show airs. And she's going to, when the show comes on, you're going to be able to listen to it, and you'll be able to get in contact with her directly. Also, you guys know where you can find me, Yo Taylor at thestyletable.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Women Who Boss Up. I'm everywhere, y'all. So check me out every Monday at 7 p.m. for My Style Mondays. See you guys next time. Bye.
thank you.